Hello and welcome to Saturday's Birmingham News Weekend magazine. It's our relaxed look around Birmingham and the West Midlands. So then, coming up on today's show, well, we'll kick off with a look back at this week in the wide world of sport. Carl will be joining us for the business news and also a look at the film world. I'll be seeing what's up on the community notice board, and then Des and Sasha will be telling us what's on this week. We'll be profiling another artist, and remember, if you know someone with the talent, do get in touch. Jason Forrest will join us with another interesting guest from the Milk Bar, and Norman Bartlam will be telling us what's so special about this month. So it's all within the packed pages of the Weekend magazine. So then, first up, let's have a look back over this week in the wide world of sport. Now, Smethwick Library got this year's Black Country Festival well underway in style recently with a special football-related event which featured Baggies legend Tony Bomber Brown. Who else could we send to meet him but Made in Birmingham's very own Albion Uber fan? He follows them everywhere. It's Norman Bartlam.
Tony Bomber Brown joined West Bromwich Albion as a 15-year-old in 1961, and in the late 60s and early 70s he was part of an Albion team that built a reputation as a successful cup side, winning the Football League Cup and in 1968 the FA Cup. He scored 279 goals in 720 competitive matches for the Baggies, both club records. And over 30 years since leaving the Hawthorns, he's still a fan's favourite, and he has a great rapport with the supporters.
Well, I think it's obviously a lot to do with it is the service I gave to the club. You know, I was a one-club man, more or less. I was there 20 years. You know, as you said, broke the records, goal scoring, more games than anybody. So, you know, as I had that affinity with West Bromwich Albion, it was my club, it was my life for 20 years, and I think the fans appreciate that and what I did for the club. So I think that's why, you know, he's kind of gone on after I've finished playing, and it's lasted for this thing, you know, the affinity between the fans and myself.
Tony will always be remembered for the 1968 FA Cup final and also playing for England.
Yeah, I did. It was unfortunately it was only my one cap, but like I say, you know, I've got that to fall back on. I can actually say I've played for my country, and that was an ambition when I set out as a 15-year-old lad. I always wanted to play for my country, and I was desperate to play in a cup final because as a kid in those days that was the match, you know, every year, and every young kid wanted to play in an FA Cup final. And so I eventually achieved it, and that was absolutely fantastic. So I achieved the two things that I set out to do in football.
Tony agreed that much of the fun has gone out of football.
Yeah.
But a little bit of laugh's interesting because all the serious, all the laughter and stuff seems to have gone out of football these days. So everything's so serious.
Well, I think it is. Yeah, sometimes it's too. I mean, you've got to be serious at the right times. But there is times when you have to have a release valve and, you know, and have your little bit of fun. I found that all the time I played football. You know, you have to be serious at the right times when you're playing them. But later, especially in dressing rooms with you know, so many players around, invariably you get the pranksters and they're playing jokes and that, and that's kind of a release valve from all the pressure, because there's a lot of pressure in football, as you know.
Jeff Astle springs to mind.
Yeah, he was probably the main one. He was the instigator of all the pranks and all the jokes and all the laughter. That's the way Jeff was. He was a funny man, a character, and you know, and we all miss him.
And the final word goes to the compere of the night. Why does he think Tony remains so popular?
Well, that purely comes down to the character of the guy. Not only a great playing record, which does help a little bit, but the pure personality and the character of the guy, and his love for West Bromwich Albion, which has always shone through, and that's what the fans take to. If you look at all the popular players, the real popular ones, they've all had that little bit extra, and they'll go that little bit extra mile for West Bromwich Albion.
On a hot night in Smethwick, fans showed why they appreciate him, and he certainly appreciated the fans in more ways than one. Norman Bartlam, Birmingham News.
So, Carla, summer of roadworks is beginning. What's it like in your neck of the woods?
Well, it's quite interesting, Mike, because I remember in March I started to notice a huge rise in the number of major roads that were being clogged up across the Black Country particularly, and I thought, well, the councils are probably using up their end-of-year budget. But it just seems to have ramped up over the last few months. I mean, you've got, for starters, Junction 10 of the M6, major road projects starting to take off there. I think that's going to take 18 months, 2 years to widen the carriageway. So, I mean, that's always a really busy junction between Wolverhampton and Walsall. And then you've got a road like the A449 linking Wolverhampton to Gailey and Stafford. You've had one carriageway of that closed now up to Gailey Island for probably 3 or 4 months, and that's still nowhere near finished. And the thing that always just amazes me is there doesn't seem to be a huge amount of joined up thinking. So you can sit there on a road sometimes and think, well, which way shall I go to avoid the roadworks? And sometimes there isn't an option. Temporary traffic lights and little bits and utilities being dug up. And I have this theory that it's all down to the fact that we're driving wider cars these days. I mean,
there are a lot of very large cars, aren't there?
Look at, roundabouts now suddenly need sort of filter lanes to come into them and come out of them.
What do they call them? Is it Chelsea taxis?
Chelsea tractors.
Chelsea
yeah,
tractors,
this is the bane of my life. I think they're taller, they're wider, which means that parking lanes, parking bays, parking spaces have all got to be different. And it's just that we've got roads that were suitable to 20th century cars that are being used by 21st century vehicles.
When I was a youngster, I do remember sitting in the back of my dad's car when I was probably, 8 or 9, thinking, gosh, I'm glad all these roadworks are taking place now, because when I grow up and start driving, hopefully they won't be there anymore. But it's never stopped, has it?
Well, no, and also I think the thing is, you see a lot of our main roads across the West Midlands with some pretty serious potholes in them, or pothole repairs, and it seems that they're done piecemeal. There's somebody going along with a nice sort of a bag of tar and filling in the holes, and then of course the frost comes along and it just breaks them up again. So resurfacing huge stretches of roads, to be fair to the local authorities, seems to be what they are actually now trying to do, but the disruption that then causes is multiplied 5-10-fold really.
Well, the hard fact is we're just going to have to live with it this summer, because it's starting and it's happening, and obviously those in power will say, well, it's for the good of the driver. But in the big engine debate, I know that you've been talking to a few experts recently, and this ties in with autonomous cars, maybe electric cars coming very fast now. I see that France has said that by 2040, is it, there'll be no petrol or diesel cars. The fact that Volvo have said within 3 years?
3 years they're going to stop making
every vehicle that they produce will have an electric motor, although many of them will be hybrids. So this is very exciting development time, isn't it?
Although that is, again, from a transport infrastructure point of view, the potential that you might need extra lanes on motorways if you've got sort of driverless vehicle convoys. The disruption that would cause. I mean, you all know what it's like if you get a lane closed on the M6 at the moment and a massive rush hour tailbacks. This would be a sort of 2-3 year project. So that's got to be brought in. Electric charging points and sort of availability for to cope with electric cars, again, is all bits and pieces of infrastructure, isn't it? And cabling underground, and you don't think of that. All we want is all the facilities to be given to us and no disruption to be caused in the process.
And so to sum up, I suppose the overriding advice is plan your journeys. If you can, then travel by a different mode of transport, trains or buses in bus lanes and what have you. So there's a lot to think about if you're continuing work through the summer.
It's a massive opportunity for public transport operators to sort of get their acts together into a really integrated system so that it's there when people need it, and force people, to give it a try because they have to. They might find they like it. We might actually find there's fewer cars on the roads when they've finished all the work.
Carl, thanks very much. One to be aware of that's getting underway now is the concrete repair and resurfacing work at Spaghetti Junction that will continue through the summer months. There'll be 7 full weekend closures of Junction 6 of the M6, the entry and exit slip roads, and the A38 into and out of Birmingham, although the M6 itself, thankfully, will be fully open throughout. Some specifics then for this week. Wednesday the 12th of July, overnight closure of the A38 into Birmingham. On the 13th of July, that's Thursday, the Gravelly Hill approach to the A38 will be closed. Gravelly Hill closed into the city from 6 ways to the A38. The Tyburn Road approach to the A38 will also be closed. And what about the weekends? The A38 Aston Expressway will be closed for 7 consecutive weekends, and during those closures it will not be possible to get on or off the M6 at Junction 6. The first weekend closure will begin on Friday the 14th of July, and the last one is due to end on Monday the 28th of August. No traffic will be able to access the expressway to either enter or leave Birmingham during those closures.
Right, time for a break, and when we come back I'll be taking a look at the community notice board, and Carl Jones will once again join us for this week's movie news. Stay with us. And welcome back to the show. Now, still to come later on in the programme, we'll be seeing what's on in the West Midlands. So then it's time for the community notice board, and as always this is the news that you send to us. Now if there's something that we could mention, then please do get in touch, but as always give us plenty of notice and we will give you those all important contact details in a few minutes time. Now, Sandwell Council's SHAPE team are getting everything in place for this year's Youth Festival to be held on Saturday the 22nd of July at Sandwell Valley Country Park. Now this is the third annual Youth Festival, with last year's event attracting over 8,000 visitors. Sandwell Council's youth team will be running a music stage where acts who have taken part in the Shape Your Talent competition will be showcasing their talents alongside other local artists. Admission to the festival is free, with most of the activities also being free of charge. Now there'll be the Pat Collins Fun Fair, Zorb football, assault course, climbing wall, youth buzzes, sports activities, magic shows and much more. I wish I knew what some of those were. I'm sure we can find out. As well as all the youth festival activities, Sandwell Council has joined forces with the Albion Foundation to organise a colour run in honour of blind Dave Healy, who this year will be running several marathons in aid of the Albion Foundation. The Blind Dave Colour Run is a 5-kilometre walk, jog or run around Sandwell Valley, where coloured powder will be thrown at participants along the course. Oh dear, the colour run is open to those aged 6 and above. And to register for the colour run, or for more details about the Shape Youth Festival, you can go to the website, which is www.sandwell.gov.uk/shape events. The colour run sounds good, that, doesn't it? Now, a final year textile student in Birmingham has had his design brought to life thanks to a partnership between Birmingham City University and IKEA. Now, the university approached IKEA earlier this year as part of its annual Trends project, and IKEA donated a Poang chair for the textile design students to create an original cover. Now, created by Japanese designer Noboru Nakamura in 1977, the Poang is both an armchair or a rocking chair. And having impressed university academics and the IKEA design team, a design by undergraduate Nader Nazari has been used to decorate the iconic Poang chair, and it's proudly on display in IKEA's Birmingham Central store. Now, born and raised in Afghanistan before moving to Birmingham in 2008, Nader's design for the Poang chair takes its inspiration from his passion for the natural world, coupled with the theme of this year's Trends project, Grace. The Trends project is an annual collaboration between Birmingham City University's textile design students and manufacturers, focused on showcasing the future in design trends at industry shows, and in 2017 explored the serene and luxurious. Now, the theme of the Grace trend aims to redefine our approach to craft through the sophisticated use of material and colour, and Grace embraces the extraordinary heritage of traditional craft and redefines how we think of them. Now, the partnership with IKEA has been made possible through the university's business engagement team, which provides industry access to work-ready students and graduates. And it sounds like a great idea, actually. You must go and have a look at that. Now, the City of Birmingham Brass Band and Handsworth Community Choir are holding a special prom in the gardens of Joseph Chamberlain College. The event is supported by the Lord Mayor, and the proms concert is always popular and enjoyable event, they tell us, and this year they're calling it Around the World. Now, you can take along a blanket because we're told that, weather permitting, you can enjoy a picnic in the gardens at Joseph Chamberlain College whilst listening to the band, plus there's tea and cakes available in the interval. How very civilised. Yes. Now, it's all taking place on Saturday the 22nd of July, and you can find out more on Facebook and Twitter. All you've got to do, look up Birmingham Brass, or you can email birminghambrass@yahoo.co.uk. Next, the Mary Stevens Hospice holds its annual fair every September, and this year the event will start with a big parade through the streets of Old Swinford, which will be led by the Fair Queen, princes and princesses, and you can nominate someone for their roles. Now, all of the chosen nominees will receive full costumes for the day, complete with crowns, royal privileges at the event, and even a morning of pampering at Stephanie V's salon before they're chauffeured into the event in convertible cars to greet their public. How cool is that? Now, the Fair Queen will represent the hospice for a 12-month reign, making appearances at hospice events throughout the year. There are 5 categories: Fair Queen aged 16 and over, Fair Princess aged 11 to 15, Fair Prince aged 11 to 15, Fair Princess aged 4 to 10, and Fair Prince aged 4 to 10 as well. Nominations close on Sunday the 30th of July, and then the summer fair will be held at the hospice on Saturday the 2nd of September. Well, there'll be a football tournament, craft market, fruit and veg show and a mocktail bar. So if you'd like to nominate someone, you can have a look at www.marystevenshospice.co.uk/event/summer fair 2017, or you can call the hospice fundraising team on 01384 377 778. So there you go, that's what we found pinned to this week's community notice board. And if you know about something that we could tell people about, why not get in touch, but give us at least a week's notice. The email address is news@madeinbirmingham.tv. On social media, you can look us up at MadeInBHamTV or use the hashtag Birmingham News. And as ever, we'll have more for you at the same time next week. Right then, now it's time for some movie news. And fresh from his daily film slot in the Lowdown, it's back to Carl Jones.
Thanks very much, Lee. 2 very different new cinema releases to talk about this weekend across the West Midlands. The first one is the animated sequel Cars 3, the return of Lightning McQueen, voiced by Owen Wilson, who time's moved on a little bit in this film, and poor old Lightning is worried that he can't quite keep up with the fastest cars on the grid. So he teams up with a top technician who reckons he can put him back at the front of the race. Exactly the same formula, really, as the first 2 Cars films. If you like that, it races along at a real pace. Here's a look at Cars 3.
Get ready for what's coming.
Jackson Storm is part of the next generation of high-tech racers.
The rookie sensation, Jackson Storm.
Jackson Storm.
Jackson Storm's in a class of his own.
Hey, champ. You had a good run. You have no idea what a pleasure it is for me to finally beat you.
Did you say meet or beat?
I think you heard me. Enjoy your retirement!
Now, if you fancy something a little bit more psychological than that this weekend, I can recommend The Beguiled, which is a remake, actually, of a 1971 Clint Eastwood film, all about a women-only establishment who are cosseted from the outside world, and life changes for the worse for them when they take in an injured soldier. Colin Farrell is among the cast of this one, and his director, Sofia Coppola, and some of the cast talking about the movie.
Miss Martha! Miss Martha! Because it's a story about this group of women, and there's this one wounded soldier that they take in, and he's the enemy, and it's a very heightened situation, but with lots of sexual tension, and they haven't been around a man, and how that kind of affects them all. So it's been fun to try to really build up the tension.
Can I get you anything?
Seems like the soldier being here is having an effect.
Aesthetically, it's so beautiful. This is very much a Sofia film. She visualized every frame, and it is, without a doubt, the most aesthetically rich film that I think I've been part of.
Sofia is the classiest woman. I think everybody does such a great job, crew and everyone, because they love Sofia so much. She really wants to make sure that everybody's happy and having a great time on her set.
It's always very comfortable, and everyone's so kind, and everyone wants to be there because they want to be there. She really puts together good energies of people and cast members, I think, so her vision naturally comes to life.
But it's just a really relaxed environment. She's incredibly easygoing and just generous to her core, it seems.
John.
Darling, wait.
It's beautiful, artful, thrilling, and fun.
Well, not long now until the release of one of the most anticipated new movies of the year. Whenever Christopher Nolan brings out a movie these days, people are interested. And this one, I think, is going to be particularly interesting. It's called Dunkirk, and it's the story that everybody knows of Allied soldiers being surrounded by the Germans on those famous beaches, and the story of how they are evacuated. Got a fantastic cast. The cinematography looks absolutely amazing. Here's a taste of what it's got in store.
What has happened is a colossal military disaster. We shall go on to the end. We shall never surrender.
The call went out. We have to go to Dunkirk. Ready on the stern line.
What are you doing? You know where we're going.
Into war, George.
I'll be useful, sir.
What about?
He's on me.
I'm on him.
Ship's about to leave.
Down you go. Where's the bloody Air Force?
That's it from me this week. Don't forget, if there's something you think I should be talking about, or if you've reviewed a movie and want to tell me what you think of it, send me an email to carl.jones@madeinbirmingham.tv.
Thanks, Carl, and of course he'll be back at the same time next week. So then, time for another short break, and when we come back we'll be having our regular look at the arts, and of course Des and Sasha will be here to see what's on during the coming week. I'll see you in a few minutes. Welcome back to the programme with me, Lee Bannister. So then, are you wondering what's on around our area? If you are, well, worry no more, because here come Des and Sasha to fill us in.
Now, let's hope the weather stays fine as the open-air cinema season is now in full swing. And starting on Monday, the Brindley Place Film Festival kicks off with Marvel's The Avengers. There's a different film every night at 6 o'clock, and at the weekend there's a 3 p.m. matinee with The Lion King on Saturday and Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on Sunday. Deck chairs and beanbags are provided free of charge.
That's like comfort for free, it's great.
Yeah. Before we go on, where are we?
That's a good question.
It sounds like we're at the seaside.
It does. It sounds like we've gone far away from Birmingham. Well, we're beautiful courtyard. The Coffin Works, just on the edge of the Jewellery Quarter. Do you want to tell people more about what you can do?
Yeah, Henry Newman's Coffin Works. They were started around the late 1800s, and they made the furniture for coffins, which was bought by the very highbrow people of the time, plus the royal family. So yeah, definitely worth a visit. Lots of things to see. They have theatre, they have gigs, they have events.
And also starting on Monday in the Minerva Works on Fazeley Street, Tilt 17 is a 7-day aerial and physical theatre festival delivering high quality teaching and performance from national and international circus artists. There's a masterclass programme catering from beginners to professional performers, free outdoor aerial shows, rigging and massage courses. I mean, I might go there for a massage.
Yeah, I think so.
And even a midnight feast, so there's so much going on.
You know, maybe we should think about sending the guys from the lowdown to get them swinging from aerial acrobats.
Yeah.
And,
I think people would love to see that. I would.
Yeah, taffy upside down on the trapeze. More open air theatre now, and the weather is allowing us to enjoy evenings outside. So on Tuesday, The Taming of the Shrew at Bruton Park over in Solihull is Heartbreak Productions' humorous and playful presentation of this unlikely love story as two people come to know each other and understand what magic is needed to create the perfect marriage. Taking place lakeside, and you're encouraged to bring a picnic, drinks, cool boxes and soak up the evening sunshine and the Seagulls are getting louder.
Yeah.
They obviously want to be part of the show.
They're cheering us on, that's what's happening. Due to phenomenal demand after the first dates in February sold out in record-breaking time, Matthew Bourne's production of The Red Shoes is returning to Birmingham Hippodrome from the 19th to the 22nd. The beloved fairy tale and Academy Award-winning movie has seduced audiences all over the world, inspired generations of dancers with its tales of obsession, possession, and one girl's dream to be the greatest dancer in the world. I mean, I'm glad it's come back, frankly.
Right here in the fantastic surroundings of the Coffin Works, there's a special event on Saturday 29th of July, and it's part of the Jewellery Quarter Festival. Coffin Folk 17 will welcome 4 talented folk and roots acts for a live evening of live music. Birmingham-based Ashland, Mike Weaver, the town musicians of Bremen, and Chris Tye will all be performing on the night. Tickets only, and they're available on the Coffin Works website, which you can access from our Facebook page. Do you know what our Facebook page is?
Yeah, I do.
Go on then.
What's on MIB?
Yeah.
There we go.
And
You should
also,
all like
all
it.
the other stuff that we talked about, we also put on there. So if you want to get any more information, just check out our Facebook page. You can click on the link and it will take you to the website.
It's essentially a one-stop shop for everything you might need to know.
Indeed it is.
Like this, like
Yeah.
What's On. And at the Old Joint Stock Theatre on Thursday, the critically acclaimed new musical Bonnie and Clyde, featuring the infamous people and their violent history, their passion, pains, fears and dreams that consumed them, charting their journey to America's most renowned folk heroes. Set to the sound of blues, gospel, bluegrass, country and rockabilly music, their electrifying love story, adventure and crime captured the attention of a nation, and it runs until the 29th.
And Gig of the Week time. Oh, it's come round again. Now, although this is not my main choice, once you've had fat, you never go back. Blobby Williams at the Robin 2 deserves a mention. Blobby Williams, I love it.
Great name.
However, my Gig of the Week is Top Loader. They are Dancing in the Moonlight fame. They're playing the Jam House on Thursday, and they're supported by Ben Drummond, who was on The Big Engine the other week. So, Gig of the Week, Top Loader at the Jam House. See you soon.
And Des and Sasha will be back here around the same time each week. Plus, you can always catch up with what's going on during the rest of the week on Thursday's edition of The Lowdown. Right then, do you have an artistic nature? Would you like to come on the telly and show people what you do? Well, if you like the idea of that, this is the sort of thing that we mean.
I sort of like specialise in brand and identity design, which is sort of creating a sort of like identity system for a brand and sort of harnessing customer interaction and creating those sort of like emotional relationships with customers and their brands. Anything from sort of like visual identity systems, which can be done in Photoshop or Illustrator and stuff like this, and sort of like a range of techniques from screen printing. It's sort of like anything, but it's the way of sort of going beyond what is just a logo and sort of like creating an identity for a brand that sort of like if you take the logo away from this identity system, that they can be recognised sort of like with brand colours. And I think a logo should sort of be like a signature of a company and not just like a self-portrait. Everything that I do is sort of like hand-drawn, and then I sort of like get into Photoshop. So I draw everything, sketch everything out, so every page layout that I do, I sketch it out and see how it will look on a page before I then put it into Photoshop and then digitise it all. The sort of like university process, you just really adapt, and the style of your work changes all the time. And I think that's what I found, is that you just sort of like acquire more knowledge, and the stuff that you do but you build upon it all the time. And the stuff that you thought was really good in first year is nothing compared to how you are now. And I think that's quite a sort of like a nice process to like sort of like look back and see that how far you've come and how much your work has developed.
And we'll be profiling another artist at around the same time next week. Now, maybe you are an artist with a passion for the subjects you portray. Why don't you get in touch? You never know, we might be able to feature you or your work on the show. Or perhaps you know of an artist that we could cover. Either way, we would love to take a look at your work. I mean that. So why don't you get in touch? You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. Now, Wolverhampton writer Ruel Diaram has written his first children's book. In fact, it's more of a family read as the action revolves around a real treasure hunt. Do you like treasure hunts? I know I do. I used to love the Annika Rice programme. Well, this is kind of something like that. Mike Prince spoke to Ruel when he called into the Birmingham News studio.
Well, welcome, Ruel. So let's get this sort of in order. You started off working in the law and training for the law, but now, 4 years in, you're really enjoying writing. Tell us about what inspired you to become a writer.
Writing's always been a passion for me, to be honest with you, Mike. I've always been looking for the opportunity to actually start writing. And so Tom Tilley is my 5th book. I've written obviously 4 before. Primarily I was writing for teenagers and adults. We're talking about a genre called stream of consciousness. So it was that kind of thing at first, but then I just wanted to try and show versatility as an author and write a children's book.
So the big thing about this book, this Tom Tilley mystery, is that you've hidden some treasure.
That's
correct.
correct.
So the book is there for people, if they so choose, to look at, and there'll be clues in it to find some treasure. So this is really a clever marketing tool, isn't it?
Well, it's just, I suppose you could say it is actually, because there is real treasure buried somewhere on the planet. It does have a financial value, but the point of Tom Tilley, the mystery book, is to get children and families to get out there in the summer holidays, work together, have fun with the book, find the treasure, and then the winner of the prize becomes a character in the second book. One of my motivators was the Hardy Boys back in the 70s. I used to love those books, and that sort of informed my youth. And so if Tom Tilley can become a franchise like 007, maybe not 20 films or 20 books even, maybe 4 or 5, then I'd be happy.
Well, it's a very ambitious plan. You're from Wolverhampton.
I am.
Is the treasure buried in Wolverhampton?
Oh, you wouldn't expect me to tell you that now, would you, Mike?
Well, it'd be nice to have a clue.
I couldn't possibly say.
But is it in the Midlands?
I couldn't possibly say. The one clue I would give you is that it is somewhere in the United Kingdom, and we'll just leave it at that.
Okay. And the value of what's in this treasure chest?
Something in the region of £2,000.
Really?
Thereabouts.
Well, that sounds very impressive. So,
thank you.
Tom Tilley, best of luck
for
you.
Very much.
And best of luck to Tom Tilley. And all power to the writers of Wolverhampton.
I'm grateful for your time. Thank you very much.
OK then, time for another break now, but don't go anywhere because we've got an appointment with Jason in the Milk Bar. Plus we'll be seeing what's so special about this week with Norman. Oh, and we're going to take a look at the weekend weather for you too. I'll see you in a few minutes. And welcome back to the final part of today's programme. Right, let's make our regular call to the Milk Bar now with Jason Forrest. Wonderland combines storylines and characters from 2 of Lewis Carroll's novels about Alice with several genres of music. Now, Jason went through the looking glass to find out about the show from 2 of its cast, Birmingham musical theatre star Dave Willits and Corrie's Wendy Peters.
When Wonderland pops out of a rabbit hole at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre from the 31st of July through to the 5th of August, there's going to be some interesting members of the cast, some particularly fearsome ones in the shape of the Queen of Hearts, Wendy Peters.
Hello.
Hello. And the good old friendly White Rabbit, Dave Willits. How you doing?
I'm good, mate, thank you. Yeah,
good stuff. Right, well, let's have a bit of a natter around the show itself, because, I mean, first of all, I think royalty first, to be fair. And obviously, as Queen of Hearts, you get to put fear into people's hearts at times.
Hopefully. There's been a few kids crying every now and then. Yeah, no, I put fear into people. I do a lot of shouting, as per. Sing a couple of really loud numbers, as per. And eat 3 jam tarts a show.
That is fantastic. You couldn't ask for more in a job, could you?
Oh, I'm sick of them now, though.
Really?
Yeah, we're up to, I think it's 100, well, by the time we get to Wolverhampton, it'll be 200.
Jam tarts or shows?
Shows.
So 600
so
plus
600
jam tarts.
Jam tarts. Too many.
I thought you couldn't have too many jam tarts.
Well, no, I've got a bit of a trick now. I try to stuff them like a squirrel in my cheeks. So I say I've swallowed them and I haven't really, and I get off stage and spit them out.
Okay, so it's the Weight Watchers way of dealing with jam tarts.
Try my best.
But a song-ridden show, it is all about the music. And
Absolutely.
You are such a singer, but maybe people who watch Corrie don't realise that.
Possibly not. No, I mean, it's that thing of you're on TV 4 times a week in people's living rooms and they think that's what you do, not knowing that for 15 years before that, I was doing musicals. So it's lovely to go back to my roots and have a good old sing every night. But that really is the focus on this show. The music is just amazing. A wonderful score by Frank Wildhorn with a great vocals from everybody.
Mm-hmm. And, of course, somebody who's not unused to singing a few songs, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely.
And as the White Rabbit, telling the tale of 2 bits of the Alice world through the Looking Glass and the Adventures of.
Yeah,
So
it's kind of... my role is the go-between between the Wonderland world and the Wonderland characters and the real world. And when I hear, with my massive big ears that I have, when I hear someone say, I don't want to live in the real world, up I come through the lift shaft and take them down to show them, find their true self and find them what they're missing and find what they can believe in once again. And hence, which is what I do with Alice and her daughter. And through the song, as Wendy has said, the songs are fantastic, and through all the songs they eventually find the true selves by going back through the looking glass as well, which when they come back, I'll be asking questions on this later, by the way. When they come back, yes, they come back as the opposite of what they are. That's who it is, Wen, you see.
Have you just understood the whole performance for the first time?
Yes. 200 performances in, got it.
That's what I've been trying to say for the last 6 months.
I wondered. Yeah.
But no, it's great. And as you said, and as Wendy said, the whole thing is the music is absolutely fantastic. The lyrics of the songs push the story along, and we just kind of you meet all these fantastic characters that everyone knows from the Wonderland days, and it's just this journey of pure
you've said
enjoyment.
You've said it. The worst word.
The journey.
Ooh, the J word.
Oh.
Yeah, I hate it. No, but you're right, it is. It is. And I think the difference is as well, there's a modern twist on it, in as much as our Alice is 40, and she has a teenage daughter, and our rabbit doesn't go down the rabbit hole. He has a lift shaft. He's a very posh rabbit. That's a broken lift shaft. And I think that it just leads us through with music that is from every genre.
Absolutely.
From rock, pop, pure musical theatre, boy band.
And you're the boy band member.
Of course, I am the boy.
Yeah.
And the band. Yeah. No, and a bit of classical even in Hail the Queen, and a bit of Gilbert and Sullivan-esque type stuff.
Right.
So there really is something for all ages. I'd say from 7 up.
Yeah.
7 up to
I think the genre they've said
90.
is 8 to 80. They've said, and it is, and we get the kiddies coming along with the rabbit ears and the Queen hats and all the rest of it. And
Scream
really,
at the boy band.
Scream at the boy band, yeah. And it really is. And I have to say, I've very, very rarely been in a show where the audience stand up every single night. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, loving every moment. And that is the thing. It is different to every way you've seen Alice before.
Oh, completely. Yeah. Completely different in every aspect, because the two stories are combined together. There's always that to love once they're in Wonderland, and you're seeing all the original characters that everybody knows and loves, obviously, although our Mad Hatter is a lady, so that's slightly different. But then there is the twist of the Looking Glass. So anybody at any point, their character can change as well. The Queen doesn't go through it.
No.
She's just nasty through and through.
Well, as long as you know you're quite happy. Typecasting. But as long as you know you're
happy. Yeah, it is. You're right. I can't get away with it. Every time. And whatever I do now, I seem to scream and shout.
You are somebody who is well suited to that, I feel.
Yes. Yeah. I have a loud voice.
And they can hear you, no mics for you.
No
mic
for me. I don't need a mic.
No. Again, the costumes themselves, I'm guessing they're sumptuous based on. I mean, there's a lovely heart behind us. This is just a clue as to the sort of sets we're going to see. It is going to be a good-looking show. Yeah. Great costumes, great sets.
Massive table for the Mad Hatter to sing and dance on that all lights up.
The lighting is fantastic.
Yeah, the lighting looks
and
beautiful.
These portals that you can see, these round circles now, really give, when the lights are on and going around them, really give that depth, as if you are going down the rabbit hole or lift shaft or whatever it may be. But from the audience point of view, they give that real depth of and focus of what's happening there.
So it is a truly magical show, magical characters, and Lewis Carroll's work all brought really into the 21st century.
Oh, completely.
Have I covered it all there?
You've got it, mate. Completely. Wolverhampton, you're going to love it. So come on down and see us.
Absolutely. Grand Theatre from the 31st of July through to the 5th of August. 01902 429212 is a box office number, or grandtheatre.co.uk to get your tickets online. Oh, that works. Call now. Grab your tickets, come along, see these two mad people in a show with a Mad Hatter. It is Wonderland and it's at the Grand. Looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
See you there. Thank you. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Jason.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jason, and your guests. And of course, we'll have more from the Milk Bar at the same time next week. And if that's not enough for you, then the Milk Bar is also on the radio and it's a podcast too. So just order up themilkbarpodcast.com to find out more. Now let's take a quirky but interesting trip back in time with everyone's favourite historian. It's our very own Norman Bartlam.
On the 15th of July, it is St. Swithin's Day. And on that day, locals believe that whatever the weather, that weather will continue for 40 days and 40 nights. This legend began when St. Swithin died.
I died in 971 and was buried outside the church doors.
Later on, a bishop tried to remove St. Swithin's remains to a proper burial grave. But on that day, a terrible storm occurred. Legend has it rained for days and days and days and days. That's what you call overacting.
And if you'd like Norman to take a look at something in history, then why don't you get in touch? You can email news@madeinbirmingham.tv. So then, it's time to close the pages of the Birmingham News Weekend magazine for Saturday. I'll be back tomorrow night at 6 with more from the Weekend magazine. And then bright and early on Monday morning at 7, it's the Birmingham News Review of the Week. Plus, of course, you can keep up to date with more news for Birmingham and the West Midlands every weekday at 6 and 8 in the evening. So that's it for now. Stay tuned. The weather's up next, and then after the break, we'll be seeing what George and Taffy have been up to this week on The Lowdown. Thanks for watching. From me, for now, Trarbit.